Today, the selection contract for the pack with 15 epic cards for the anniversary campaign has been released. So we will look at their training, their boosters, and who of them is the best choice for you. Here comes Pepe. Welcome everybody! If you wonder why no skill recommendations this time, it's just to keep the video short. You can always check out my other video about skill recommendations for different players and playstyles anyway, if you need some assistance there. Also, I will not be making a summary in the end of this video this time, but already try to get into detail why I would or would not pick each player at their own chapters. We start with Oliver Kahn.
Eier, wir brauchen Eier.
1 point in aerial strength because there's a point left over. 8 points in goalkeeper 1 for the goalkeeping awareness. 13 points in goalkeeper 2 as it is the best category in my opinion, as reach is extremely important and parrying is one of the better stats as well. 9 points in goalkeeper 3, mainly for reflexes, but catching isn't too bad to have either. The booster, as for any keeper, is always saving, since reach is infinitely more important than catching. Now, should you pick Titan Oliver Kahn? As usual, it depends on what you have. I have another Kahn which is pretty similar to this one, and he's amazing. Kahn probably isn't like a super absolute top tier keeper like Courtois, Cech, Schmeichel and the likes, but he's directly below, which is still absolutely incredible. Think of it, you would be getting an extremely good keeper only bested by the absolute best keepers in the game, and you'd get him for free. Great keepers are nearly impossible to get for free. My best non-paid keeper is Player of the Week Szczesny. A good keeper, but far from Kahn. Another advantage of picking the keeper here is that it's very unlikely he will be worse after the 5.0 update, because keepers usually remain unaffected. If you think back, the physical update made players with bad physical stats worse, so people would buy coins again. Then they changed the passing system to make some players need more passing again, and so on. Keepers remain completely unaffected. And if we think about it, we have seen so many crazy cards recently. Many big times then. Pelé, Cruyff, Platini, all with incredible stats. It doesn't get much better than this, but it has to somehow get better than this, because in the next version, Konami still wants to sell cards. So they somehow need to make the upcoming cards clearly better than the recent ones. Otherwise no one buys. I also don't think we have ever seen a Vieira card being released towards the end of a year's cycle. I'm pretty sure there will be a new one early in the next cycle, and so on. On top of that, keepers might also stay unaffected in the upcoming link up, as it might only be for field players. Kahn does have two downsides though. The first one is he lacks the low punt ability, which you really want to have. You can give it to him, but it can be expensive. The second downside is that the only restricted event you can use him at is the national event if you pick Germany. No league event possible for him, as we're second-class citizens only. But yeah, the bottom line is, if you don't have a great keeper, Kahn might be the best and safest choice for you. Let's move to the other keeper, Casillas. 1 point in aerial strength, again, because it was left over. 8 points in goalkeeper 1 for better goalkeeping awareness. 13 points in goalkeeper 2. I've already explained this at Kahn because reach is extremely important, and in my opinion, the combo of reach and parrying generally makes this the best category to spend points on. 9 points in goalkeeper 3 for better reflexes, as these are considerably important as well. Catching isn't super important, but not bad to have either. Now, since I know there will be some people who have this card and who will want to have all stats above 90 because reasons, here's a build for you. We removed 1 point from goalkeeper 1 and also got rid of the point of aerial to get another point in goalkeeper 3. The loss of points in jump isn't that important because jump is the least important out of all the stats. The booster is saving, we've already had this, it's always saving, never goalkeeping. Now, should you pick Casillas? Like, I mean, you've just seen Kahn, right? Why would you even think of picking him? Stay away as far as possible. Run! Let's move to Wayne Rooney. Who would have thought we'd get a phenomenal finishing Rooney card? What a surprise. 10 points in shooting. As he has phenomenal finishing, we of course want to utilize it to the maximum. Plus 3 manager boost for finishing and curl here. If it is too much finishing for you and you have an 89 proficiency manager, you could also go down to 9 points and add the additional allocation points wherever you feel necessary. 1 point in passing. His passing is very good for a striker. 8 points in dribbling, going the efficiency route here. It won't make his dribbling amazing, but he should be fine. Plus 3 manager boost for tight possession with it, and another plus 3 manager boost for ball control if you have an 89 manager. 8 points in dexterity gets us the +3 boost for acceleration and also increases his offensive awareness and balance, which he really needs every point in. 9 points in lower body strength for the +3 manager boost in speed. Kicking power and stamina definitely help him as well. +3 boost for stamina if manager 89, by the way. 4 points in aerial to make him a bit more bulky. That's it. For the booster, I would pick Striker's Instinct. His offensive awareness really needs a boost, and all the other stats go fine with it as well. Should you pick Rooney? I would say no. He isn't too bad, but there are several cards available that outclass him. Unless for some reason you have an endgame card in every single position for every single league team, except for the English one, where you somehow lack a striker with his profile and phenomenal finishing, then you could think of getting him. But how likely is that? Next up is Carles Puyol. No points in shooting, passing or dribbling, 8 points in dexterity. Since the game progresses, cards get better and better and pretty much everybody gets continuously faster, so he needs the 8 points in acceleration. A balance isn't too bad to have either. The same logic applies to lower body strength, he also needs the speed, even when playing long ball counter. The stamina comes in handy as well. 4 points in aerial, some people will consider this too low. I do have an alternative build with a bit more aerial if you prefer. But I think you can easily get away with only 4 points, because against all the small and agile strikers, he will be at a huge advantage anyway. And against Kola, Vejos, Sorlot and so on, he will be disadvantaged either way. On top of that, luckily, defending headers is also a bit more about defensive awareness now, rather than the dull stat check contest we saw with the ridiculous manual heading playstyle. Like, think of it, which duels exactly against whom would Puyol be winning because of more stats in aerial that he doesn't already win? Everything else goes into defending. Having massive defensive stats is super important, obviously. Here is the alternative build where I basically trade the 13th point of defending for 2 points in aerial strength, allowing aerial strength to go up to 6 points then, granting the +3 manager boost for jump even for 88 proficiency managers. For reasons already mentioned, I don't think you need any more than that. As for the booster, for me it's between defending and shutdown, and shutdown has a little bit more value here in my opinion, because defensive engagement does matter with intercepting passes now, making it more valuable than a single point and jump. So should you get Puyol? No, please don't. There are 2 reasons in this very pack alone why you shouldn't, and the next player is one of them. Fabio Cannavaro, who for some reason doesn't have Fortress anymore. Maybe Super Mario came by and raised his Fortress, I don't know, but look at this card. If you could have him, why would you pick Puyol? Classic center back build here with only a few points in aerial. I've already explained in detail why I think that's a solid choice for Puyol. So if you skip that part and are interested, just feel free to go back. You could also remove 2 points in defending or 2 more points in lower body strength if you like. For the booster, I would go with shutdown, just like with Puyol, same reasoning. So should you pick Cannavaro? I would say he's a great choice. If you either already have a great keeper so that Kahn is out of the question, or your defenders generally aren't that top notch, then Cannavaro could be your man. Because think of it, big brain moment. If Cannavaro doesn't let anyone by, a worse keeper doesn't matter because nobody will get to shoot anyway. Brilliant. He can also play at the Italian league events, by the way. I have the latest Cannavaro and he never let me down. Glorious card. However, there is another great defender in the pack, Martin Caceres. Again, classic defender build here, with aerial on the lower side, you know it by now. We get the +3 manager boost for speed and physical contact, and for 89 managers, also for acceleration. I think this is a very well-rounded build, could make little tweaks to give either a bit more or a bit less defending, that's a matter of preference. Now the big question is, if you have settled to go for a defender, is it Caceres or Cannavaro? Hauptsache Spanien. I think it's pretty close already. Caceres has a better ID with greater lag coverage, but slightly lower defensive stats. To be honest, I think you can't go wrong with either. One thing you could consider is that there will be a new Cannavaro at some point, that's for sure. So maybe another old Cannavaro will appear in a free box somewhere. But Caceres has only one epic card so far. He's a lot more unlikely to appear in a different card, at least in my opinion. So if you think of it this way, you could get Caceres now and Cannavaro later. But odds are, for a new Cannavaro you have to pay. If you're lucky, maybe they re-release some old Cannavaro. like this one. Cannavaro has a destroyer playstyle, which I personally like a lot. If you do as well, you could favor him. Caceres would be without playstyle as center back, similar to Thuram. That is also fine. One clear advantage that Caceres has though is that he's better at handling the ball and passing. It doesn't matter that much for defenders, but still. He also has Fortress because Super Mario hasn't paid a visit to him yet apparently. He can also play at the Spanish event, which might be the reason why I pick him if I do, because I like a good fast defender there. So yeah, I think it's quite close between Caceres and Cannavaro. Both have little up and down sides, but you can't go wrong with either. Just don't pick Puyol. What about Denilson? I'm not gonna waste your time, just forget about him. I mean, he's fast and good at dribbling, but that's it. Other cards are so much more valuable. Like, look at him, he's a cross specialist that even if he had 8 points in passing, wouldn't even reach 80 in lofted pass. Really, there are just so many other better options. If you somehow got him by accident, he's probably the most useful as a second striker, because there he's without playstyle. Could even go for less passing there. So, MTV next. Next up is Stojkovic. Going with a pretty balanced build here, with a +3 manager boost at 89 proficiency for speed and finishing. He's overall a really solid player and great dribbler. For the booster, many are possible. I think agility is a great choice because all of the 4 stats really help him. Should you pick him? If the midfield is the position you lack most and neither Kahn nor Cannavaro, Caceres, Van Basten or Bebeto are a big enough upgrade for you, then you could. Stojkovic is a nice player, also has full weak foot proficiency. The reason not to pick him wouldn't really be him lacking something crucial, but some of the other cards just being that good in their respective positions. Also, you can't use Stojkovic at any league events as there is none for the French league. Another midfielder of this pack would be Paul Scholes. There are many different builds possible for him depending on where he plays and what his tasks within your formation are. I went with a balanced central midfielder build here. Can adjust it to be more offensive if you want him as an attacking midfielder, or you could also give him 4 more points in defense if you prefer that. Here we have dribbling, low pass, finishing and speed for the +3 manager boost at 89 proficiency. For the booster, I think agility is quite good, but for him, most of the offensive boosters make sense. If you play him very offensively, you could even pick a booster that includes finishing. So should you pick him? He can play the English event, which is good. He is a bit similar to Stojkovic. Stojkovic is better on the ball, Scholes is better physically and defensively. Stojkovic, however, has full weak foot proficiency. Scholes is far from that. Scholes does have ideal dribbling height though, but Stojkovic has overall better dribbling stats. If you absolutely want a midfielder that is also capable of doing defensive work, you could go for Scholes. He's not bad, it's just the same as with Stojkovic. Other cards in this pack might just be too good. Another possible midfield choice is visionary pass Xabi Alonso. He is not your classic meta player, he plays differently. You have to play slower if you want to use him to his fullest. Otherwise, other players will just be more suitable. He does have great defensive stats, can handle the ball well, and is also a great passer. The booster is shut down because it's the most efficient one here. So should you pick him? If you know that you play the niche playstyle in which players like him thrive, which is a slower playstyle with a lot of rebuilding, keeping the ball, changing the tempo, switching sides, then you could think of picking him. But even then, honestly, the other players are just too good to pass. Kahn, Cannavaro, Caceres, Van Basten, Bebeto are just closer to the best of their position. But if you have everything else covered and want Xabi Alonso, it's your choice. I wouldn't pick him. In fact, I have an older Alonso that doesn't even start in the Spanish league team because Tchouaméni and Belletti are just more useful overall due to the game the way it works, unless you play a specific style. The next player is phenomenal pass Kaka. For the first build, we go for 9 points in shooting. This will grant you the +3 boost for both finishing and curl as long as you have an 89 proficiency manager. This isn't shown here, by the way. Also not for all the others we've shown so far. It only shows the 88 proficiency boosts. This means, for example, that the finishing and curl here would actually be 1 point higher, meaning 88 and 89 respectively. No points in passing, he has 83 without any, which is a very important value. I usually do like giving the first 4 points because they are so efficient. If you want, you can do it, but I feel like he needs the points everywhere else. 10 points in dribbling get him the +3 manager boost for tight possession, and since he is quite tall, tight possession is really important for him because taller players generally are worse on the ball. 8 in dexterity grant him the +3 manager boost for acceleration and also important points in offensive awareness and balance. Also 8 points in lower body strength, getting him to 91 speed, which is super efficient. Kicking power and stamina are obviously nice to have as well. 3 points in aerial to make him a bit more resilient against physical challenges. This one here is an alternative build. We swapped the 10 points in dribbling for dexterity, but note how I also changed the booster. What I did here was lower dribbling to 8, which in return gives me 6 allocation points I can now use. However, I don't want to get below tight possession 86, as this unlocks a better turn animation. That's why if you want to use this build, be sure that your booster includes tight possession, such as for example ball carrying or technique. If you play possession based or generally just want a bit higher passing stats, you could go for this alternative build here, especially if you use him as a midfielder. Here, we removed the 9th and 10th point in dexterity and added it to dribbling and passing. That way, we have more passing, and we also don't rely on a tight possession booster anymore, meaning we can pick whatever we like here. If you prefer, you could also move 1 point from aerial strength to passing. For the booster, most offensive ones are fine. I would pick Striker's Instinct if used as a second striker and you don't need the additional tight possession point. But really, most offensive boosters are absolutely fine. The difference is very marginal and also up to preference. So I think you could just keep a random offensive one if you lack tokens. So should you pick Kaka? In my opinion, no. If for some reason the top cards aren't useful for you, it's probably better to get Stojkovic. Like, except for phenomenal passing and offensive awareness, Stojkovic seems to be better at almost everything. Stojkovic will feel a lot better on the ball than Kaka, trust me. Also, Kaka doesn't have full weak foot proficiency. One advantage Kaka would have though is that he could play the Spanish League event and for Brazil in the national event. But yeah, I wouldn't pick Kaka. If I would, then only because I really like the player, not so much the stats. Let's move to the center forwards. What about the blitz curler Gareth Bale? I would use him at the right side, by the way. We go with 10 points in shooting. Usually I don't like going over 8, but since he's a blitz curler and not as good as the best blitz curlers, he desperately needs the points here. 1 point in passing, it's really low, but he needs the points everywhere else. If you feel like it's too low for you, you can always take off a point somewhere else and add either 2 or more points. 9 points in dribbling, he's still bad. Due to his height, he by far won't feel as smooth as good dribblers, but at least he reaches the 83 threshold. 8 points in dexterity to make his acceleration even higher and to give him important points in offensive awareness and balance, where he isn't that great. 8 points in lower body strength. I think we could go with less speed as points above 91 are worth less anyway, but the problem is we'd not only lose the kicking power then, but also drop even further in stamina. That wouldn't be good. 4 points in aerial, mainly for the physical contact to be able to fend off opponents easier. But since he is quite tall, it will also help him to contest small defenders that are not good in the air. The second build is pretty similar, except we do give up 1 point in shooting to get the 4 points in passing, as the first 4 points are the most efficient ones. And the game punishes lower passing stats much more since version 4.4. Other than that, exactly the same build. A third alternative is this one here. 12 points in shooting to really push it there. No points in passing, it hurts, but what should we do? We can't have it all. 9 in dribbling remain to keep the 83 tight possession, and also for the ball control, as controlling the ball can make the difference between getting into a good blitz curl position or not. 7 in dexterity and lower body strength each. I think 1 point respectively we gave away here isn't too bad, but still far from ideal. 3 points in aerial, they're still super efficient, but you could either trade them for passing if you like, or remove 2 and add 1 to lower body strength to get the 90 kicking power back. As for the booster, most of the offensive ones will help him, but I'd prefer shooting as it will raise both finishing and kicking power, which he will need for long range finishes. Another extra point in ball control is very nice to have, and another point in physical contact is great for him as well, as he's already pretty solid there. If you're short on tokens though, just keep whichever useful offensive one you get first. Let's move to Bebeto. He's your classic 1-2 through ball spam meta striker here. Fast, high dribbling stats, great finishing, and maximum weak foot proficiency. If you need a striker more than a keeper or defender, Bebeto is a legitimate choice. I actually have him and play him sometimes in the Spanish League event. He's a very reliable striker. For the booster, I picked Striker's Instinct. I think that's the best here. The two downsides of him are that he doesn't have phenomenal finishing and that he's extremely prone to physical contests. If you can play around these, he's a great striker. So if you need a full meta striker, he could be your choice. Another possible option as a striker is phenomenal finishing Van Basten, who I am also lucky to have and played for like almost 250 games. A great striker who is good at pretty much everything. Many builds are possible. We use a fairly balanced build here with a focus on dribbling, because since he's very tall, high dribbling stats are needed to make him feel as smooth on the ball as possible, which I value really highly. We get the +3 boost for kicking power, and if you have an 89 proficiency manager, also for dribbling. He has single-handedly won me games. I think he's one of the most underrated strikers in the game right now. For Van Basten, I can actually easily give you the skills because he already has them, which are double touch, flip flap, soul control, heel trick, and fighting spirit. The booster is Striker's Instinct, fits him really well. So should you pick him and are not in the need of a keeper or defender, go for him. Great choice. Many people complain about his low balance, has never been a problem for me. Now we will compare him to the last player of the pick, Forlan. For Forlan, we go with a pretty straightforward build, getting the +3 boost for dribbling, and also for balance if we have an 89 proficiency manager. What makes Forlan unique here is the kicking power, which is why I opted to build towards it, because if anything, that's the reason why you would choose him if you do. Would I choose him? No, I wouldn't. In my opinion, if you look for a striker that's not the classic meta speedster, Van Basten should be your choice. Having phenomenal finishing is a big plus, and Van Basten is also not only better physically, he's also aerially more proficient. Especially for uncontested headers, Van Basten clears Forlan by far. For contested ones, Van Basten might not be able to contest the aerially best defenders, but thanks to his height, jump and physical stats, is still gonna win a lot more of them than Forlan, giving you an additional option up front. So Forlan does have the kicking power, balance and height advantage in terms of dribbling, but for me this wouldn't be quite enough to pick him, especially since if I would want a dribbler, I could just go for Bebeto. Forlan is not a bad choice though. Him and Van Basten aren't that far apart, so if you like Forlan more because he played for your club or you just like him in general, nothing wrong with getting him. For me, it's like a whole different feeling of scoring with a player who I really like and played for my team, and after all, we're all playing for the fun and enjoyment anyway, so in the end, that should be what matters. So I hope this helped you a bit. Sorry that it wasn't as detailed as usual. Feel free to tell me your thoughts in the comments about who you will choose and why. Yeah, that's it folks. Let me know if you like this video. I'd love to subscribe, like or commented. Until then guys, take it easy. Shaka!